Okay, well, I'm going to start with a little bit of intro, and when she gets here, we'll start looking at the other pieces. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kathy Jacobs. I have been here in the Valley for years and years and years. I've been part of TechPHX in its previous incarnation since the very first one. I am a social media geek. I have done social media since before there was social media. And last summer, beginning of summer, I started working for a company called Nation Builder. And Nation Builder's whole premise is a way for you to connect with your nation, or your nation is what they put in quotes, it's really your network. And I've always wanted to do this How to Organize for Good presentation, but I've always had too many other things people wanted me to talk about. So this year, I picked it before anybody else could tell me what I was talking about. I believe very firmly in using technology to help you get where you need to be. And that's even more necessary in the worlds of service, in the worlds of getting your word out, and in the world of getting people to help you do something for a cause. And I have some really great examples to go with the words that you need to think about. But the first example I want you to think about isn't even a website. It's this event. This event happens because a number of people in the Valley come together and use social media and technology to bring 200 people together for a day and a half event with no budget and no cost to you. And if there were ever anything that would make you think that this is possible, it's events like this. Every other event that I know of in the Valley costs money. Even Desert Code Camp costs. But we don't cost, because we do everything by getting people to help us do what needs to get done. What I want to talk about today is how some people that I know of, and how some sites that I know of, have organized their systems for good. I will state up front, I work for Nation Builder. The examples, a good number of them are from Nation Builder. My two big ones are not. And that's only because I know that this is a platform where I can see it, but you won't see the Nation Builder side of it at all. You'll just see people's sites. So the first word that you have is you have to have a goal. If you want people to do something for you or help you reach a goal that's for service or for good, you have to know what your goal is. Is your goal to get people in the room? Is your goal to raise money? Is your goal to get eyeballs on an event? Is your goal to get people to donate something? Is your goal to educate kids? And if you don't have goals, you don't know where you're going. And that doesn't mean just, I want to have a 2-day event, because that could easily be the goal here. Our goal for this event is, we want to have an event where people of all levels of social and new media experience can come and learn. And we measure whether we get to that point. And if you're not doing the measurement, you're not getting there. So if you would click to the far right tab.
30 Dangerous?
Yep. This is my first example, and if you want to scroll up to the top of it, that would be wonderful. This is Greenpeace. Anybody ever heard of Greenpeace? Greenpeace is international. This is Greenpeace India. This is a site they put together with one goal in mind. They want to stop the coal mining that happens in areas of India because it's killing the forests. They want to stop people using coal in India because they don't use coal the way we use it. They use coal in little burners, and it makes the smog and everything worse. So they put together a site with a video and some content, and the whole idea is to get people to sign their petition. Before I talk about this number, their original goal was 500,000 people to sign their petition. No one in India had ever gotten that many people in India or around the world to sign a single petition of that size. So they said, this is bigger than anybody else can do it, we're going to do it. No one had ever caused change to happen in India based off of a petition. So they started this petition. They started it in India on paper. They moved to the web. They now have 262,743 signatures. This petition has been up since the 3rd week of July, so not quite 4 months. The way they got to this number is twofold. One, they have a very vivid video, and we're not going to play it now, it's just if you want to go to it, feel free. But they also caught the attention of a young woman, early preteens. She thought it was cool. She thought it was so cool that she shared the page on her Facebook site, and she shared it on Pinterest, and she shared it on another social media network that's in India only. And they crashed the Nation Builder servers. Because in 24 hours, they got 100,000 signatures. Because she shared it. Now, they're at 262. And I'll tell you that yesterday that number was 262,720. So this many weeks later, they're still getting signatures on their petition. And yes, they broke the cardinal rule of this piece because once they hit their 50,000 goal, they had no clue what to do next. They sent it in. They have actually started to cause change because there are areas in India now where you are not allowed to use coal, just in that 3-month period. You are not allowed to heat in a little coal burner. You have to have something that filters it out. That's change. What?
Can I see the URL?
Yeah, can you move it for a second?
Oh, sure.
Junglistan.org/act, and that's just their stream, their landing page. If you take off the .act, you can see the rest of their page.
No, I just want to sign the petition.
I can understand that. I'm not allowed to sign the petition, so I haven't. But actually, I have, but in 2 test cases, and removed them immediately. So I like what they're doing. I like how they did it. The second example we're going to go is if you would go to Million Hoodies, which is the second tab.
Okay, as promised?
No, from the
Oh, Billion Hoodies,
Right.
I'm sorry.
Million Hoodies. And actually on this one, if you would take off the splash page and just go to mhoodies.org. Because this is their sign up page and we really want to see their page. This is a group, and for this one, if you guys don't mind, I want to turn the lights down a little bit. Better? This is a guy who wants to get people involved, or specifically black people. Specifically started as he wanted to do something to get people in London to come out and show their support for Trayvon. Again, he expected 50,000, maybe. He got, and I don't know if the number is still in there, if you would scroll down. No, I think it's in one of the other pieces and it scrolls off the bottom. He got much more than the 50,000 he wanted to come together in London for a kid who died in Florida. All because he figured out how to get people to come together by giving them a story to get involved in, a reason to be involved, and a way to be involved. He specifically told them, share, and he's got pieces on here about share this, share that. He gave them real life events, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and he gave them easy ways to share. And if you would flip back to the first tab.
Sure.
The next word we're going to talk about is passion. If you are passionate about what you are doing, it will show, whether it's in live voice, in person, or in text. If you don't have passion, it will also show. How many of you have ever heard of the oatmeal? Anybody? He's actually what caused me to say up front, okay, I'm doing this presentation this year, you can't stop me. If you would go to what's going on with, up at the, yep. He decided, and this is actually the second example, we'll talk about it first and then the other one. He decided that there needed to be more visibility for a guy by the name of Nikola Tesla. Tesla was a contemporary of Edison, and if you all know this already, I don't have to repeat it, but he's the better guy. And he found out that the land that Tesla had his lab on was about to be sold. It had been in receivership, so it had been being held by somebody who wanted to do a museum. They were bankrupt. They couldn't do it anymore. So he went out to his network and said, we need to do a Tesla museum. We need to buy the land, we need to get a down payment to build the building, all this. $2 million when they put the matching in. As of this writing, which I think was almost a month ago, wasn't it? Pretty close to a month ago. They were sitting at 1.2 million. All they wanted was enough to buy the land, which was 250,000. All. That's a pretty good amount of money to me. 1.2 million with a matching grant that puts them over 2 million. And I think they're now with the matching grant up in somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5 mil or something. They've paid for the land, they own the land, and they've got an architect to start designing the museum. And in the meantime, somebody else said, well, you know, I know where one of the original Tesla coils is, and it's about to be destroyed. Do you want it? And it's been moved to the land in that amount of time.
They actually bought the land that Wharton Clive was on?
They actually bought the land, yes.
Nice.
They got it out of receivership, and it is theirs. And you can still
Can
contribute.
you scroll down and see the
You
shirt?
scroll down, you can see he's got t-shirts and everything that you can buy.
Totally gonna buy one of those.
Because he believed in what he's doing. Now, why did he trust his network to believe? If you would go to the next tab to your left.
As promised?
As promised. Here's his other major thing. If you start at the top until we go down.
Okay.
There is this website out there called, I'm not even going to dignify the guy with putting a name. There's a website out there that started stealing the oatmeal's content and saying it was theirs. And the guy who writes the oatmeal said, I'm not going to stand for this. And he put up a comment, being who he is, that was all about how stinky and bad this guy was. And the guy sued him for defamation of character, for libel, and for something else. And so he said, well, you know, guys, I can't afford to combat the suit. I'm coming to you guys to help pay the cost of the suit. And the suit was expected to be a very small amount of money. He raised $211,000 in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If you scroll down, he actually went and got the cash from the bank, from the donations, and if you keep scrolling down a little bit, he pictured the cat with the cash out. Picture of him, but this is the best one. He took these pictures, sent them to the guy who sued him, and said, and by the way, all this money has been donated to one of two charities. One's an anti-cancer, and one's animal care, I think. So, that's the passion you need. He also has a network of geeks who decided to help. If it hadn't been for this one, we wouldn't be saving the Tesla land now. Because he didn't believe that he would really get much money from anybody. When it went over the 100,000, he was just falling on the floor. So if you flip back to the presentation, and I'm sorry, the rest of the tabs you're going to have to open by hand.
Okay, just double click on it.
Yep. So if you go down, the next one we're going to talk about is you need a focus. You need to know what the story is that you want to share. What specific thing are you going to focus on? For this event, surprisingly, the focus this year was not on the event itself. This event, we do things through the year, but the focus every year is what can we do better? What can we do more of? What can we give back? Anybody know what our focus ended up being for the giving back this year? You probably all saw it as you walked in the door.
It's a food bank.
It's the food bank. Okay, we got 2 boxes because we thought, well, if we fill out the first one on Saturday, we'll have one for Sunday. Anybody see the picture of them that was posted on the Facebook page? I've been downstairs since early, but as of 8:30, quarter to 9, they were onto the second box already and filling it up. Because everybody here realized it's something for good. Now, we gave you something in exchange. Everybody gets a ticket for a piece of food, but it's still that focus. So if you would click on either of these two, we're going to talk about both of them quickly. So the first one is hope for pause. Tell me what their focus is when this page comes up.
Doggies.
Just scroll down past the puppy dogs.
Okay.
Gee, rescue puppies, you think? What they've done is said the best way for us to get people to rescue the puppies is to see who the puppies are. And that's
And
their
name them.
focus. What?
Naming them's clever.
Isn't that great? Not just, here's the puppy dog, but here's the puppy dog in the picture. Here's this, here's this.
Presentation makes a big difference.
And she has a book about this, the person who runs this. I don't think the number of rescues is on here at any point. Her goal isn't in just getting them rescued, but getting the visibility. Her focus is on the animals and getting the people to connect to them. If you would click on the second link, this is a totally different goal. This is a, let's make it local. This is the Elgin, Texas, I think. Sorry. Yes, Texas. This is a local company that wants the people in their area to start using local food. So what they did is they put together a site, put together a network, they've got events, they've got information, they've got people coming. Their focus is fully on getting people to buy local food. Now up here in Arizona, that means come by from the farmer's market, etc. Here's the big thing for them. Get the local beef used so that it doesn't have to get transported elsewhere. Better for the farmers, better for the environment, better for the local people. Okay, would you flip back up? We'll do the next word. And please throw things at me and talk if you have questions or comments or other examples. I could have put almost any of these under the visibility example. I mean, the Junglistan thing, it still blows me away how much they got just by being out there. But both AIDS Group and Amnesty International have done a really good job of being visible. Because it doesn't matter how big your network is if nobody knows where to find it or how to look up what you're trying to tell them. So if you would bring up either of those two links. This is a conference held every summer about AIDS and about AIDS policies. And this is how they got people to know that they should sign up for the conference. They got a petition, they've got information. If you scroll down a little bit, they've got a way for you to join. And for them, the big visibility piece is that they have really mastered the social media end of it. They give you ways to share everything. Short, quick bites that people can actually eat and understand without having to deal with the fear that the word AIDS brings up in some people. One of their big goals was to get it on the NIH, get AIDS back on the National Institute of Health's agenda for the next year. I don't know if they're going to make it because the attitude there has been AIDS is old school. AIDS has been going on, it's old news, we don't need to keep talking about it. That's why they believe they needed the visibility to get everybody else so that people could start to realize that it still exists, it's still a problem, it's still something we need to deal with. Would you have the other link for this?
Oops. Alright.
That's okay.
Back to 4, there we go.
Amnesty International for India, we will just bring this one up quickly. Again, an international program, an international organization finding a way to go local and to get local visibility. Yeah, it's smaller, but you're welcome to join us for pictures. If you would scroll down, this is one of the things that they share quite a bit, this piece. People being detained because they've done something that someone thinks is wrong, even though Amnesty International has made it very clear that what they're doing is not wrong. In this case, it's the people who have broken an unwritten law, an almost Sharia-like law, and so they've been thrown in jail, and they've not been charged, they've not been tried, they're just in jail forever. They're like disappeared out of South America. Now, this is another thing that I absolutely love about what they've done, because they've given people a way to share your real voice. You can actually go and record a piece for them that says, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, or this is why I thank you, or what I think we should be addressing. Bring in a whole nother area. Okay. The next word we're going to look at is content. And I only have one example here because I'm going to ask you guys for example of content. If you don't have good content, it doesn't matter how much you have of the ones above it. Because if you don't have good content, nobody's going to listen. Anybody here heard of Brave New Films? Anybody know what Brave New Films is? Mm-hmm. You might have seen some of their films. Scroll down a little bit, they've got a little block of all of their films. Anybody see that one? The exploration of what the Koch brothers did, the exposition on them. They've done several of these. I won't say how many because I don't know the number off the top of my head. But they actually have sponsored videos, and there's a big one they've done, or at least a big one out in LA. But they also make it possible for other companies to do it. They were one of the ones that did some of the videos for Occupy. And what their content is all about the videos that are being done, how you can get involved, and how you can get funding for your video if you want to do a video and get it into the public theaters. For every video they sponsor, they have a site set up. So you can actually go to the sites for all of these and see what's going on with them and see what's going on with the video. So what other places do you know, whatever other organizations do you know that do things for good, that have got good content? Content that you find shareable and understandable. NPR? Yeah. No others?
Well, I'm working on the citizen science project that comes up in February called the Great Backyard Bird Count. Mm-hmm. And so people will watch birds for like 15 minutes, wherever they happen to are, and then they upload what birds they saw, and you can see live maps from all over the nation about what's happening. And they do a nice job.
Yep.
But
do you know the URL for them?
Let's see.
Because it's not Birdwatch Day anymore. I know that.
Oh, there they are. You've been there then. Or they think
that's how I knew it wasn't National Birdwatch anymore.
But you have to remember, the back end of this is people get instant gratification by seeing movement on the maps, and they can also go by their zip code and see how the population is shaking out.
Yep.
And I just think, if you want to do a local project, who could you collaborate with to help you do that back end? Because it's not easy.
This is my one sales pitch.
Okay.
If you're interested, grab a sticker. That's exactly what we do.
Excellent.
And I'll guarantee you the support is fairly decent on 1/5 of the support team.
Great.
But yes, I did look at these guys to use these guys as an example because I love the way the map goes. If you're watching it that day, it starts playing and it just boop, 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 and you can see it going as people send in their reports. One of the reasons I love this is the GBC for kids. So it's now, you've got a piece for adults, but you've also got something that tells kids how to do it. And for most kids under the age of about 10, sitting still for 15 minutes and watching birds is really hard. So they give you some tips as a kid how to get yourself to sit still and watch for them. Okay, what's the next one?
Interaction?
Interaction. This one kind of goes with the content. If you don't have good content, you can't share it. But if you don't have interaction, nobody's going to share it. This is the Young Women Social Entrepreneurs. if you scroll down, they not only give you the information about the chapters and such, they tell you, here's what we do and here's how you can get involved. Here's the information to share.
They were on the bottom there.
Oh, hey, now when did they do that?
What?
All these Lorem Ipsums. Yeah, that was not there when I looked on Thursday.
Oh, probably someone's fooling around with it and didn't mean to do that. Yeah. They're all on the same day. Look at that. Okay. Well,
Yep.
there it is.
Okay. What they've done is given you a quick way to subscribe to what they're doing and a quick way to go to their events. So yeah, we'll skip past this one and pretend it doesn't exist. How does that sound? That is the problem with creating a presentation for the social media world in any way. You are guaranteed that at least one of your links is not going to work. And if you're teaching Facebook, you are 100% guaranteed that at least one of the things you're going to talk about will have changed overnight on Facebook between when you last practiced and when you did the presentation.
You know, I guess what I find really challenging is we have a lot of things to say, but pausing to listen or soliciting comments, you know, I desperately don't want to be a broadcaster, but I seem to just end up being that.
Okay, a hint. You have to ask people to reply. You have to give them something to reply to. You have to ask them to like you, and you have to ask them to share your content. If you don't ask it and make it easy for them to do, people won't do it. You will get some. I mean, okay, I'm an oversharer. You all know that already. I will go and share most of these things that I sent, and I have shared an awful lot of them. But the average person, go ahead. Oh, you were doing your knitting. Got it. No, the average person isn't going to go and share what you do unless you give them a reason and a way. And a reason isn't just this is good stuff. The reason is something like, okay, here's what's going on and it's happening on this date, so you need to share it. Here's this piece of content and it needs to be seen by this date. Even if those dates aren't hard and fast. I want to go back to the example of this event. And this event has a lot to it that people who come during the day don't know about. How many of you have seen our blog posts through the summer? Okay?
Yeah.
All of those have to be written, but if you look at them, they all have a reason for you to share them. They all have something in them that you're going to know you want somebody else to do. Even the raffle prizes. Says right in there, we know you don't want to share this. How did she word that this year? We know you want a better chance at the prizes, but don't you want to feed people too? Make it humorous, make it something, but make it so that people can see it and share it. I love this picture, by the way. I could get that picture blown up huge. And of course it's going to swap before you can do anything with it.
Okay. Attention.
Attention. Notice they kind of flow from one to another. Without interaction, you're not going to get any attention. But you don't want just the attention of the average person. In today's world, you also need attention of somebody who's going to help sponsor and get you monetarily where you need to be. Kid Power takes this in a whole different way. The whole site is aimed at the parents until you start looking at the content and it's talking about what the kids do at camp, what the kids do during Kid Power sessions, how they get involved. And everything's written for the parent, but from the viewpoint of, hey kids, here's how your mom and dad let you do this. And it's all good for them stuff. If you go to, for example, their Student of the Month, and again, I haven't looked at it since the day before yesterday, so she may not be a good student. Scroll down. Actually, scroll. Can you look on the headline here, or the picture?
Oh, there we go.
So, what they did, when they did it, and how to get involved in the next one. And if you look through their contents, they always mention at least 2 of their events or 2 of their programs when they're reading through it. Because that grabs people's attention. The first one may not grab you, but the second one is likely to. And I have had people tell me, well, that dilutes my message. If your message is so refined that there's only one thing you can talk about, you are too focused and you're not going to get visible. You've got to have enough to reach out to other people than just your target audience. It's like that thing of reach out to the kids and they'll get the parents involved. This is the other thing I love about it. The 420 people like Kid Power. About once every other month, they send a note to the people who are their network, and they say, for a day, for the next 12 hours or the next day, please change your photo, your image on Facebook to the attached image of the student of the month. She doesn't know we're doing this, or he doesn't know we're doing this. Are you going to change it? Probably not. But is it going to catch your attention if you get an email that has an actual action in it for you to do? You're more likely to get involved in the future. Okay, next word.
Involvement.
Yeah! Now I have to warn you, this one is not the most easy to look at site. This is the stories of the people who have been through some really nasty situations in Africa and in other places. Rape, mutilation, some other bad things. What they've done is they've taken the people who have been through the problems, through a woman who's been through a rape, or a woman or a guy who's been mutilated, and they start with the success afterwards of what they've done to recover. And then they give you the backstory. Because if these images were of people who have problems going on right now, you wouldn't be as likely to get involved. It'll grab your attention once, but it won't keep you. If you scroll down, another one of the things they do really well, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, is they actually have events that go on all over the US and all the time. So you actually get involved. They connect you to their people from Los Angeles to Liberia, and these change every once in a while as well. And they tell you exactly why they're there. You want to go back to the next one? We're going to move in a little bit more positive direction. The next one we're going to talk about is events. Because if you're trying to motivate your people for social good, you either need to be having a virtual event or a real life event, something that gives them that deadline of you've got to do it by this date because this is what's going on. And we have two things related to Food Day. And in fact, did you guys know there are two different World Food Days? There's Food Day and there's World Food Day. And they're not on the same day. This is an example of somebody trying to organize their nation for good and not doing the legwork first. Because these guys existed first, and the next one we're going to show you existed second. And the second guys didn't look to see if the first guys existed. So this is all about getting past hunger. Getting people food where they are that they can eat and that is easy for them to prepare. If you want to scroll down, feel free. The big thing I wanted to show you here, if you would go back up to the top, the big thing I want you to see is if you go to the register an event, they don't just have events on the 16th. They tell you how you can create your own event tied to theirs. I also like what they've done with the right-hand column, where they're pinpointing what they want you to do and who they want you to work with. I don't know, would you scroll down a little bit more? I don't think they have their actual map up at the moment. You know that, oh yes they do.
Let's see what's in Arizona.
New routes for refugees. Kind of cool. All right, if you would go to the other one is Food Day itself. As I said, these guys came in second. But they've done some interesting things on their site to get people involved. Please come on.
Interesting.
Uh-oh. There we go. I was gonna say, please don't crash today. You can see they picked a different day. But if you scroll down, they actually told people, okay, you've done all these events now, share your pictures. Share what's going on. Tell us what to do. They've got their Twitter feed right there so you can see it. They've got their blog posts.
Is that automatically fed in? The Twitter, is it fed?
It's automatically fed in. It's a widget that gets dropped on the page. If you go to get involved, they actually give you, again, the map of what's going on that they're doing, but also what happened and how it happened. Now, I do have to say that I don't know if they have anything on their event wall because their event was the 24th of October. But when they did their event on the 24th of October, they had more hits on that day, on their event pages and everything else, than they had in the entire year before that they'd spent building the information for the site. So in one day, they doubled their total traffic. If you click on the 2012, you should be able to see, I think that link is still live. So you can see where their events were, and these are just the events that haven't timed out yet. So yeah, sorry, nothing in Arizona.
Okay. Though they did have at least half a dozen in the Phoenix area. I
Yeah.
remember that.
So, I also really like this piece of their page. They put together a quiz so that you could see if you were eating real or not. Okay, let's go on to the next one. A little bit more fun. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Lorain County. Oh, sorry, I almost missed this one. This is a historical house in San Francisco, or in LA. It's an arts house. It was originally a historical location. People who bought it had a dream of having an arts house. And so now they have a historical monument that is a true arts house. People who live there are all artists, or almost all artists, and they do a wide variety of events. And if you would go past the splash page, you could just scroll down and do the skip. Gee, Bruce, you know who did this one? This is one of Lilia's pages. So you can see they actually have events going on all the time. They've got a yoga event. What have they done recently? Sorry, dark on dark. They had a Magic Day. I don't even remember what some of these other ones were. But they have at least 2 events every week. Either a concert or a Share Your Arts Day. They've done batiking days. They've come learn how to do oils, come learn how to do pastels. This house houses 12 people. And they do all these events just with those 12 people, who all have full-time jobs. Plus all do the artwork that comes with all of it. They used to have maybe 3 or 4 people come to events. Since they put the site up, they've not had any events that haven't sold out. Because they put the site up, they talked about the events, they got good SEO, and somebody from the LA Times started noticing. And now every time they have an event, or a first of a weekly series or such, the LA Times style person comes to their events and writes a piece about it. Because they found a focused way to get what they needed out to people. And for those of you who are true history buffs, this is the Horace P. Dibble House. And if you ever want to hear a hilarious story, go look up Horace P. Dibble. Any questions or comments or anything so far? Okay. We do have a couple of more little words that you need.
Oh, and do we end at 11:45?
Yep, how close am I?
Okay, so we're at 11:40. Sorry, I should have given you a bigger window.
That's all right.
All right, shall we?
Yep, we only have 2 more words, and then we're the word that we're all ignoring, the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, this is Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I don't remember which word it was, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Updates. That's right, that's why these guys are here.
Updates.
Because they actually do. Unlike some of the sites we've seen,
Sorry, I'll go back to where I went there.
unlike some of the sites we've seen, they actually put current updates and they update what's going on with their events. It really does annoy me when people have an event page and don't update it frequently. If you have an event and it's coming up, you better be telling me why I'm still going to be interested in this. They actually have someone on staff for this particular Big Brothers Big Sisters chapter that will update the site 2 to 3 times a week. And in fact, I believe there's 2 new ones since I looked last. I know this one's new, and I thought when I came in this morning, I saw another one down below it. Oh no, that one's back a month.
Okay.
But I love this thing about being able to enroll your kids straight from the website. You'd be amazed at how many daycare centers and how many nonprofit child care and events. You can't register from the website or from their social media stuff. You have to call them to register.
Makes sense.
In today's world, it does not make any sense. You want people to do it while you've got their attention. Okay, one more word, and then the word we're all ignoring.
Mm-hmm. Connections?
Yep.
All right, that one's loading, I think, right up there, right?
Yay! This is, again, one of those sites that is not necessarily safe for work because they have some interesting pictures that I wouldn't share otherwise. But these are people who need help in a wide variety of ways, including learning to eat healthy. I'll tell you, you don't want to go to some of these pages, and we're not going to go to the pages for the different countries, because they have some people, one of the things they talk about is people who overdiet. And talking about how that comes to be, especially in people who lived in places where they don't have enough to eat, get enough, and then to go on a diet and die because they suddenly stopped eating again, because that's the way. After all, I grew up that way and I was okay, now I should be able to do it again. What I love about these guys is that they have managed to go worldwide and still be local. They are across the whole world, there are places across the world, but if you go to their local sites, you can find information on things close to you. Now for the elephant in the room. What haven't I talked about? Money. When I said earlier that this was a free event, is it really a totally free event? Do we really do this on $0, do you think?
No, you have sponsors.
We have sponsors.
Because I remember the call for sponsors.
Yeah. Go ahead and go to Kane's Arcade, because he is my second favorite example. The oatmeal is my favorite example of how to raise money. Ask and find out that people care.
Kane's Arcade.
Kane's Arcade, if you have never been to Kane's Arcade, Kane is a kid who decided he wanted to put an arcade in his family business. So he built them out of cardboard. And a film crew came and was walking by and discovered him and said, "Would you mind if we filmed what you're doing?" And now he's got his own foundation, as well as income from the film that is being put away in the bank so that he can go to college on it. And an award-winning film. The way you make money for your cause is to, number one, have a good way for people to donate, an easy way for them to donate. On Nation Builder, we hook up to PayPal and a couple of, and your credit card accounts and things like that. But if you don't want to go that far, use Kickstarter. Use just a PayPal account. But give people a way to get their money to your cause easily and that you can track. Because if you don't track it, they won't donate after the first time. As you said, you saw our post that we need sponsors. If we didn't post that, we wouldn't get sponsors. And in fact, this year we got more donations in kind than dollars, and that was fine because that's what we needed this year. We had to rebrand the whole event. The signs out there are new, all of our graphics were new, all of our content was new, t-shirt design is new. And in case you're wondering, there's a few years ago, so that's how drastically we changed. But all of that takes money from somewhere. If you aren't sure that you're going to get actual money, ask for donations in kind. Ask for a way, and make it easy for there to be a way, for people to give you what you need to get your job done. There is another good example of it. We cannot afford to have someone wander around and take pictures that we have to pay. There's what, 4 of you wandering around today? You,
So, yeah.
Patrick,
Allison.
and I think there's one other person. And what do they get out of it? They get the experience being able to put on their resumes, hey, I went and took pictures for this event, and here's where you can see them. What do we get out of them? A whole buttload of experience, visual connectivity and content to share. And I knew she'd do that. I hate being on this side of the camera.
Why do you think I'm behind it?
I know. Mine's in my bag, but the days I have to present, I just can't do both. One of the things I really like about what Kane did is this cardboard challenge. If you would click on that link for a moment, because it kind of wraps together everything we've done. They set up a specific day for you to go be a kid and to go take his challenge and create something for the kid in you. What a better way to get your community involved. Give them a cute kid who's done something awesome that nobody else has done, then give you and your kids a way to get involved. All of those pieces of the picture pulled together in the same piece. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Was there anything I didn't cover that you would have liked to have known about?
And when you have, I would be concerned about having tweets going directly to my page, unfiltered by human beings, for fear of somebody doing, unless it's, you have to be liked by it in order for the tweet, that's just pulling up a hashtag and filling.
Well, actually, okay, here's the hidden story. An awful lot of these are nation builder sites, even though they don't look anything alike. But if you scroll down to where the Twitter, well, they don't have their Twitter wall. If you think about the ones where they have had the Twitter wall, all of that is actually done by people who are either the actual organization or following the organization.
Oh, okay.
And you who own that Twitter account can remove people from your nation. Their tweets will still show in the rest of the world, but they won't show on your page. And yes, you can go and delete them individually and all that kind of stuff too. And by the way, if you like the blue style sheet that I'm wearing, we have 4 of them to be given away. 5 of them?
Shirts.
Shirts.
You call it a style sheet.
Style statement.
Okay.
I want one.
Well, they're being given away. You can watch for the buckets to go up.
All right.
We are also giving away TechSmith shirts, and there are new TechSmith shirts this year for those of you who are repeat visitors. This year say, TechSmith captured my heart.
Oh.
I don't know who else. We have t-shirts from somebody else too, and I don't remember who.
Okay. Oh, there it is. There's a Twitter feed.
Yep, there's their Twitter feed. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it. I never know when a group is this silent, if I just went over your heads or if you're just all stunned. Or listening closely. Where are you going next? Anybody have any ideas?
Lunch.
Lunch is nice.
For lunch. Food. Food.
See you next